Welcome back to Digital Farm TV Rural News. I'm Andy Walker. During the week, your Digital Farm weekly news service also went live at thecountryman.com.au. And we're delighted also to welcome back all our new subscribers as part of our exciting National Farm Content Sharing Alliance. Now to the news. The Queensland Dairy Farmers Organisation says it will closely scrutinise the Wesfarmers Coles supermarket chain claim it might increase milk payments to dairy processors as a result of a record opening price announced by Murray Goulburn. The big milk processor cooperative, Murray Goulburn, said this month its opening milk price would be $5.60 per kilogram for milk solids, equivalent to about 42 cents per litre. QDO President Brian Tessman said if Coles was true to its word, the price for Queensland dairy farmers should rise by at least 24%. Meanwhile, Queensland Dairy Farmers has also applauded moves from independent MPs Rob Oakeshott and Bob Katter this month to toughen the competition laws governing the major supermarkets, particularly to halt the impact of cut-price milk inflicted on dairy farmers. The Australian inventor of the world's first self-propelled oil mallee harvester has lashed out at government, saying the mallee industry was in crisis because of a lack of leadership, the Countryman reports. Oil mallees are planted in dryland systems for erosion control, salinity mitigation and biodiversity. Oil mallees are also a source of eucalyptus oil and the basis of a fledgling woody crop industry for biofuel production. Biosystems Engineering Managing Director Richard Sullman said he had been awarded $1.5 million by the Western Australian Government to design and build a prototype harvester, but there was now no market for the product. Biosystems Engineering is based in Toowoomba, Queensland, and while the prototype was sent to Western Australia early in its development, it has now been denied entry because of quarantine laws. The chance of exceeding median rainfall for July to September is more than 60% over most of mainland Australia, except for parts of the tropical north and the Western Australian coastline. The Bureau of Meteorology reports that this chance rises to more than 80% over southern New South Wales and northern Victoria. However, over tropical Australia, it is seasonally dry at this time of year, with July to September median rainfall between 0 and 1 millimetre at many locations. Former Victorian Premier Jeff Kennett told a recent industry gathering that the federal government should be subsidising food processing for an export market of 200 to 500 million people. Such an initiative would require capital investment to supply reliable, regular quality produce, and it would need federal support in shipping, ABC Rural Radio has reported. Jeff Kennett had said producers had become complacent and were pricing themselves out of the market. Well, we're not given to editorialising. Perhaps the former Premier should check this year's stats for booming red meat, grain and other commodity export performance, despite the previously record high Aussie dollar. Rural research and development corporations will now be able to market their industries under legislation introduced in the final 2 weeks of this federal parliamentary sitting. 3 bills introduced were designed also to encourage increased productivity, create incentives for new investment and create greater RDC efficiency. Federal Agriculture Minister, Senator Joe Ludwig, said that under current laws, the 6 statutory RDCs were not allowed to conduct marketing campaigns to promote their industries. The new amendments had lifted that restriction. The Grains Research and Development Corporation has welcomed the release of the new mung bean variety Jade AU, promising yield increases of up to 12%. GRDC Northern Panel Chair James Clark said advances in yield were always welcome, and a substantial gain on the widely grown mung bean variety Crystal would boost grower returns. James Clark said summer grains, including mung beans, were cementing their place in northern rotations as valuable break crops for managing pests, diseases and herbicide resistance. And finally, overseas this week, several thousand farmers have taken to the streets of Paris with their animals to highlight problems in the farming industry. They said that rising production costs, new regulations and pressure from big business and supermarkets were threatening to overwhelm them. In an unusually peaceful protest event for the French farm sector, producers gave away samples of their cheeses and staged demonstrations of farming life for Parisians. Well, that's it for Digital Farm TV Rural News this week. I'm Andy Walker, and I look forward to your company again next week.